Hey there, how's it going? Name's Josh, one of your co-hosts here on the FGC podcast. Yeah, I didn't have an intro for this episode. Audio was lost. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. It went bye-bye. So the plan was I was gonna look for an older conversation that Jace and I had. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a backstory. It's 3:30 in the morning. I really don't feel like looking for it, so I'm just gonna be honest with all of you. Yeah, this is done in post. The podcast is all done and edited, and I'm sitting right in front of it. So I don't know what else to say. This is your intro this week. You'll have a better one next week because, in all honesty, anything's better than this right now. So, theme music.
Greetings and welcome to our show, Fresh Geek Context. It is here we discuss insightful views on a routine bi-weekly basis over the incredibly nerdy things we can't stop talking about. To take you on this dorky ride are your host, Josh.
It me.
And myself, Jace. So why don't you take a seat, sit back, relax. We're here to do all the heavy lifting. It is about to get nerdy. This is episode 99.
Part 1. Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Welcome back, Josh. We never actually got to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, all of the holiday things that happen.
All the things, and thank goodness Kiss 2020 goodbye. It was a dumpster fire.
It certainly was. Yeah. We're never, ever going to review 2020 at all. We're just going to, unfortunately, shudder every single time we have 2020 flashbacks. So we are looking ahead now.
Can you have PTSD about a year?
Yes, I think that is a thing.
Because I think that's a thing that I have.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an occurrence. And I don't like it.
I don't like it either.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is absolutely weird. Yeah. But we've been out for a little while, haven't we? We've been busy. We've been doing things. We've been treading water.
Life occurs.
Life does occur. And I think this is the longest hiatus that we've ever been in, right?
Excuse me?
Were you not
here at the beginning of this dumpster
the pandemic?
Fire?
Actually, you're right. You're right.
That was like a solid 2 months we were gone.
Was it 2 months?
2 to 3.
No way.
Okay, you know what? Riff for a moment. I'm gonna double check.
I mean, if you are right, then you're right. But this is the reason why we journal, because it's therapeutic, and we can look back on these moments and say, like, wow, look at all the things that I've overcome.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, so sorry for everyone who's listening.
No, that's fine. I mean, I think it's just important, we talked a little bit about this before, the importance of mental health and your well-being. I think getting sleep is important. I think drinking water is super important, because if you're not doing these things, you are going to just physically dissolve into just nothingness.
Yeah. So... 2 months.
2 months.
So our episode 87 came out in March 27th of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 88 came out May 18th of 2020.
Good Lord. April was nothing happened in April then.
No, we didn't do anything in April. I wrote like maybe 2 or 3 articles.
You did.
And
I remember
put that on the site. And we're not terrible. Okay, here we're about a month in. So our episode 98, part 2, came out December 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have not. This is our first episode back. So
yeah.
Hi everyone.
Hi, we're back.
We're back again.
Huzzah. And so in our absence, with the holidays, because the holidays can run a number on you if you let it. There's a lot of things that have happened, and this is the podcast where we usually talk about one thing and one thing only.
Is it what I think it is?
I think it might be.
Is it the big M?
I mean, it's the D plus and company. No. It's not a thing. It's not. This is not okay.
Stop.
I mean,
we are a PG podcast.
But you're insinuating. I'm just saying the first letter of the company that I like a lot.
Fine.
It's Disney. It's what it is. I'm not.
I mean, I was more pointing to that, but that works too.
I mean, the people can't see what you're pointing to. Josh is sitting.
But you can.
I know. Josh is sitting on a big giant Marvel chair. So there, I said it again.
Excuse me, it's not just a Marvel chair, okay? It is a.
It's a Marvel chair.
It's a Spider-Man chair.
It is a Spider-Man chair. Now that I see the logo. Now that you've gotten out of the seat.
Yes.
One of these days.
It is my gaming Spider-Man chair.
Yeah. One of these days, we're going to do a video podcast, and then we can really talk about how weird things can get. But
that will be on the docket one of these days.
So, yeah, a lot of things have happened, right? So, I mean, we finished the year. We survived.
We did.
You're, I think, in good spirits. I think yes. I'm in good spirits. I actually got a PS5.
Yes, you did.
I did get a PS5. That's what happened. We didn't
talk about this.
We didn't. We absolutely didn't.
We didn't talk about this on podcast. We talked about this off the podcast.
Right.
But yes, you finally got one.
Yes, I finally got one. You. Noah also got one.
Noah
guest
got
star
one as well.
From previous episodes.
Yes.
He was thrilled. I was thrilled, and I was able to play Miles Morales amongst other things. Astro's Playroom was really good. I would actually love to discuss that with you in one of our subsequent episodes.
I feel like what we'll do, because so I discussed when I got my PS5. The thing with me though is I played Miles Morales, I beat the story, but then I kind of shelved the PS5 for a little bit, mainly because I was trying to get to my 100 platinum goal, which I did reach, by the way. Hey.
Congratulations.
But so I went back to my PS4 to finish those games off to get the 100th platinum. So now I'm truly into the PS5 where I'm going through everything. I'm looking through everything. I'm playing Assassin's Creed now.
Right.
So now that I'm starting to grasp the PS5 more, and we kind of were on a chat the other day on the PS5, so we kind of figured out how the party system worked, how the share play worked, and all that stuff.
Right.
So now that we're kind of getting into it a little bit more, we're probably going to give ourselves a little bit more time just to like view everything, and then we'll come back and talk about it.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really, really looking forward to that. So I'm actually thrilled with the system. It overperformed in some instances. There are some things I don't like.
Sure. A lot of user interface stuff, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, my system crashed a couple of times, but...
Interesting.
Yeah, it did crash a couple of times.
Like the application or the actual system?
I think both, to be honest with you.
Because I've had Assassin's Creed crash on me once.
Yeah.
But not the whole system, just the game.
Yeah, and so like we could talk about this for hours, and this is not going to be that episode. There are some things that we do need to discuss when we have to stay on point on task. Yes. So we will definitely be talking about gaming in I guess a new invigorating type of way because I've always held a passive kind of I guess take on social gaming. I just never really, got behind it. But I think I am very excited for some of the games that are going to be coming out soon. Yeah. So, yes.
But that is next time. Today, though,
we are talking about very old news. Not fake news, not new news, old news. And I feel like for the most part...
But still fun news.
It's still fun news. We always talk about new news, but whenever we post, it becomes old news, so... We're always like, John Oliver, where we talk about last week tonight. So, this one is actually posted from The Verge. It's the 52 things that Disney just announced, well, previously announced at this point. Yeah. This was posted on December 10th. So by no means is this new information, but, I enjoyed doing this show with you, Josh. And we kind of talked about a lot of the stuff, but we really never had a chance to really unhatch it.
Yeah.
So
again, it was just more talking of you and I offline.
Offline, exactly.
So
now
this time we want to share it with all of you.
Exactly, and and for some people it might be new information. And if it is, we're glad. For others, we're revisiting an older topic.
But our thoughts on it.
So here it says Disney just made a deluge of announcements at its 2020 Investor Day, including updates on new Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney Animation Studio projects, as well as updates on Disney Plus and other Disney streaming services. And just to go through the list, Marvel Disney Plus series is something that Kevin Feige has been talking about for a while. Kevin Feige is the president of Marvel Studios and just Marvel Entertainment just in general. We love the work that he does. So obviously when he gets on stage and he starts firing off titles, we pay attention, to say the least. We're going to listen. And we've been waiting for this. I mean, this was something, a point of contention for all of 2020, because 2020 actually turned out to be the year very much like 2009, where we didn't get any information. The difference is that 2009, Marvel Studios was a twinkle in only a select people's eye. No one really knew what to expect, but when you've been like spoon feeding us, 3 movies a year, all making over $1 billion, you stop making those movies because of a pandemic, we notice. Exactly. We really, really noticed. So, this year we're going to be I don't want to say overloaded, but we're going to have plentiful serving of Marvel content. Starting with WandaVision, the first Marvel Studios show coming out on Disney Plus. At this moment, by the time you hear this, it will be coming out later that week. So, January 15th is when that's going to be coming out.
Cannot wait. And it's been confirmed since then. Mm-hmm. The January 15th, the day of release, there will be 2 episodes that come out.
2 episodes,
and the 2 episodes will both be 30 minutes each.
That's going to be amazing. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I really am. 9 episodes long, so this is going to be something that's going to definitely be holding us over.
Absolutely.
The next thing that was announced was Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Also, finally got a full trailer. You can see that on Disney Plus. You can see that on YouTube, on Twitter, and all the social media platforms, along with a March release date. We also finally got a much longer first look at Loki, Disney's highly anticipated short series based on Tom Hiddleston's God of Mischief character. The show also got a May 2021 release date.
Can I just say?
Yes.
Tom Hiddleston has ruined the character of Loki for me indefinitely.
Why?
Ruined it in a way where I can only see his version of Loki in Norse mythology now.
Oh, yeah.
Because, spoilers for God of War 2018, right?
Yeah.
2018? Yeah, spoilers for God of War 2018.
Get with the program, guys.
Atreus, Kratos' son, is been revealed to be Loki.
Yes.
Yeah. And acts nothing like Tom Hiddleston, but he's Loki, right?
No.
Also, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is based on Norse mythology. Mm-hmm. You do run into a Loki at one point, and he acts nothing like Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just want every version of Loki to be Tom Hiddleston now.
He's got staying power, I will say that.
Exactly. So he's ruined Loki, but at the same time, it's like, I still dig him. So
yeah. So after that, we also have Hawkeye premiering on Disney Plus in late fall 2021. The studio has also confirmed that Hailee Steinfeld will be appearing in the series, which was something that we kind of knew was going to happen, but we weren't sure.
We kind of knew because we did talk in the last episode about the set photos of her being on there and stuff like that. So it was kind of confirmed there, but it is 100% officially confirmed by Disney now at this point. So
finally.
So we got full confirmation on that.
Full confirmation, but we didn't actually see any footage or anything like that. But we did see a buttload of set photos and whatnot. So looks good. I'm looking forward to it.
Cannot wait.
What If, an animated series by Marvel Studios that features the voice acting cast of many Marvel Cinematic Universe stars. Also got a new trailer that offered a first look at the upcoming series. With Jeffrey Dean
really cool.
As, Uatu. I'm so excited for this. I'm very much excited for this.
We'll talk about this in a few as well, but it is also going to be, sadly, the last time that we hear...
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't do it.
Last time. I have to.
Fine.
It will be the last time that we hear Chadwick Boseman reprise his role as T'Challa in that series.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough for me to watch. Yeah. We're going to be obviously talking about this in subsequent episodes. So, Feige also announced 3 new series coming to Disney Plus. Ironheart set to star Dominique Thorne, engineering protege Riri Williams.
Yeah.
With Armor Wars coming up too, which examines one of Tony Stark's biggest fears and stars Don Cheadle, who's reprising his role as Colonel James Brody Rhodes in Secret Invasion, the previously rumored Nick Fury-led series that will see Samuel Jackson reprise his role as S.H.I.E.L.D. director alongside Ben Mendelsohn, Skull, shapeshifter Talos. No release dates for the new projects were announced. Now, I gotta be honest with you. This is a lot of information. A lot of information. I don't even know if we're going to be able to talk about all of this, but out of the three, we got WandaVision, Falcon, Winter Soldier, and the first look at Loki. That's the ones that were announced and was given like footage, like actual footage, trailer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Out of all of them, I'm very excited for all of them. All of them. But I have watched the Loki trailer the most.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
That's where I am right now. I'm very much excited for WandaVision. I am like ready for this. I have so many questions based on the two trailers that I've seen, because you know how I usually do when it comes to Marvel stuff. I always watch the teaser trailer, and then I watch the regular trailer, and then I stop. So because it's a TV series, I don't know exactly how this is going to work. So it's weird. It's really weird. Also, side note, Legends came out. Marvel Studios is released on Disney Plus actually today as of this recording. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Not see it. No, I didn't know when it was releasing.
Yeah, it's released today, and the first two episodes are about maybe 7 minutes long, and what it does, it kind of recaps the story so far with the characters that they were presenting. So the first episode talks about Wanda, and the second episode talks about Vision, and you know, you have to watch it. And just a short review of it, because you're not really giving anything away, is that it really crafts the full story in such a way where you kind of look at it a little bit differently. You see the losses in a very short segment about, you know, what it is that she's dealing with and what it is that she has to look forward to now, you know, after the events of Endgame.
Right.
I want to say Vision was probably the better presentation of it all, because for his story, it dates all the way back to Iron Man 1. And it's not something that I was prepared to think about.
He was Jarvis.
He was Jarvis, and he started out as that, and then he transformed, you know, with all the science magickery that you can just kind of put together, became not Ultron, but which was who he was supposed to be, the new body of Ultron, but he became Vision. Mm-hmm. So it was interesting to see his story and how they crafted, you know, a 7-minute, you know, I guess summary, if you will, of his character. So I'm interested. I'm so on board with this, but with all the things that I've seen from WandaVision, I've seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier multiple times, but Loki has my attention. And I wasn't a Loki fan before, but I am now. I definitely am now. And, you know, the new series that I just mentioned, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and Secret Invasion, I'm almost speechless. I don't even know how to react to that. That's just a weird... It's awesome, but it's weird, right? It's weird. You got Samuel Jackson coming in for a movie. And years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but Samuel Jackson was supposed to have his own movie.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I think it was supposed to be at the end of Phase 1, around Avengers. That never happened. Then they were talking about it for Phase 2, and then it just kind of just faded away into nothingness.
Yep.
But it was supposed to be Nick Fury and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Obviously, after Phase 1 ended, that's when the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show came in, where Samuel Jackson did appear twice, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
He appeared in the premiere, and I think in the season finale.
Right. And while it was awesome to see him there, it didn't feel the same. I kind of always wanted to get a movie featuring Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury and, you know, S.H.I.E.L.D., like, doing spy stuff.
Yeah.
And never got that. And consequently, we were all supposed to get a rumored... It wasn't as rumored as much as the Nick Fury movie, but we were supposed to also get a War Machine movie, which was something, again, that was talked about. It was rumored for years, and it kind of just faded away. And after Phase 3, I was resigned and thought that we were just going to be done with it. But I think this is awesome, dude. I mean, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Armor Wars, we're getting Don Cheadle back. We're getting Samuel Jackson in the series. And for Secret Invasion, I can only imagine the madness that's going to be happening in this.
And what pretty much the trailers that we've seen of WandaVision, the trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier, the trailer for Loki, it doesn't feel like a TV show.
It doesn't. Like,
and this is something that they've said from the beginning. They said that we are going to take the same amount of care, the same approach that we do to making a movie that we are doing for these Disney Plus shows.
Right.
And when I watched that trailer for Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm like, this doesn't feel like a TV show.
Right.
It feels like a movie.
Right.
And you know that feeling, right? Like you watch a trailer for a TV show, you're like, you can tell. I'm like, oh, this is a TV show,
dude,
because of the way that it's shot. Because of the way that it's
we've discussed this so many times.
Exactly.
Inhumans felt really cheap.
Yes,
it felt really disingenuous, and the way they marketed the crap out of it.
Yeah,
it was a 2-hour premiere. It was the first 2 episodes. They were premiering in IMAX, and it just. Even in those moments when they were announcing that, it felt empty. I wanted it to be more, and I never got to see it because I think the release only went to a certain amount of theaters, so it never was released around me. And then I remember watching the first 15 minutes of Inhumans, and I just said, something's off. I can't put my finger on it, but it doesn't feel authentic.
Yep.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., while it was a good show, while it is popular... there were parts missing, and it always felt.
And it still felt like a show. It felt like I was watching a CW show.
Right. Well, I don't want to disrespect Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like that. It didn't feel like a CW show.
Hey, listen, Arrow and Flash, they're good shows. So is Legends of Tomorrow. The early season.
Okay. Agree to disagree.
But anyway. See, this is what we're talking about this DC representation. Anyway, so yeah, but like that's the biggest thing. Like these do not feel like TV shows. They feel like they were shot for film that just happened to be coming out on Disney Plus.
Right.
Which is what I'm excited about.
Or 3-hour-long movies that are split up into segments that you just get
3 hour or 7 hour?
Or 7 hours. It depends on the show.
Yeah,
it's just I really don't think we have the time to really talk about this, which is actually kind of good because we can actually revisit this. And
we're going to be.
We're
definitely going to be talking about all of these shows when they come out. So.
Of course, I mean we can't forget that there was also Moon Knight that was announced. Just today was actually confirmed that Oscar Isaac is going to be actually starring in it. Before it was just confirmed. No, it was always rumored. It was rumored. Like Hailey Steinfeld and She-Hulk.
Speaking of She-Hulk,
yeah, exactly.
So the last episode we kind of mentioned a few moments ago came out on December 8th. I think we recorded it maybe 2 days before. So let's say we recorded December 6th or something.
Right.
And we were talking about her not being casted because
she had just posted something. No. She was in an interview. Where somebody asked the question. She was like, I don't know where that rumor actually started. No one ever asked me anything.
Exactly. So
and we were like, you tricky
actress. And then a few days later, it's confirmed that she is Jennifer Walter.
So, Moon Knight was announced. She-Hulk was announced. Miss Marvel was announced.
Yeah. Mark Ruffalo is coming back in She-Hulk, by the way.
Exactly. Miss Marvel is going to star Iman Vellani, which was announced way before. But now that everything is, being presented for Investor Day, it's confirmed, and we actually got behind the scenes for some of the shots that were filmed for the show.
Yep.
I don't know, man. There's just so much content. I can't be mad at any of it. Like for me to say, like I'm excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki. But I'm not excited for Miss Marvel. It would be just weird, Like
it would. I'm excited for everything.
I'm excited for everything that you give me at this point. I have not been upset. Even Captain Marvel. It's a weird movie to me to this day, but I still love it. Love it. I'm allowed to love the things that I find weird that I don't initially accept. Yep. Something can grow on me over time.
It's true.
It's awesome, dude. There's just so much stuff that's out there. There's also Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special that's coming out in 2022, which is also being directed by James Gunn.
Let's go.
Volume 3 is also supposed to be coming out the following year in 2023. And I Am Groot series of shorts film starring Groot. So I'm imagining that's going to be the live action Groot.
I would assume.
Quote unquote live action. Side notes, Black Panther 2 was talked about, and they talked about how they will not recast the role because of the late Chadwick Boseman. The film is still being directed by Ryan Coogler, and it's set to be developed in July of 2022. So if they're pushing forward and they announce that, that means that they have a story that they feel confident.
Right.
So,
correct.
I'm always going to have mixed feelings with that. I don't think
course.
I'm ever going to feel okay with any of the decisions that they make, but I still trust
I'm
them.
sure that what they have is what they feel is the best that they can do.
Right.
So I mean, I trust Ryan Coogler. I trust Kevin Feige. So I think they're both smart people. So I feel like they know what's best.
Right. Third Ant-Man film was announced as well. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Do these people just put quantum in front of everything?
I think they do. It's bananas to me. Everyone's coming back. Michael Douglas, Evangeline Lilly, Paul Rudd, Michelle Pfeiffer. It's also going to introduce Jonathan Majors as King the Conqueror. I cannot wait to see this. I cannot wait. Doctor Strange and the whole... I'm getting tired announcing all of these films, and we haven't even gone to the other things.
This is just Marvel.
This is just Marvel stuff. We're not going to get into the Star Wars stuff. We're not even going to get to Disney animation stuff. We're going to save that for another episode because, we're not going to be here for 2 hours. We're just not. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness will tie both upcoming WandaVision and Sony and Marvel's third Spider-Man movie together. The studio confirmed that Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, will be appearing in still the unnamed Spider-Man sequel. So, also, the last thing that they talked about. The last thing that they talked about is Marvel Studios is developing a new Fantastic Four movie.
And they gave us a logo.
They gave us a logo, and the man who did Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home will also be directing the new Fantastic Four movie.
Mr. John Watts.
Exactly.
So clearly Feige really enjoyed what he's done with the 3 Spider-Man films, and he's like, have a crack at the first family.
Yeah.
So
we did not get any announcements or casting, direction for who's actually going to be Mr. Fantastic.
I feel like at this point, anybody besides John Krasinski or Emily Blunt, I feel sorry for whoever they do cast because everyone's going to be disappointed until they see the film, obviously. But I feel like everyone just has had them on their minds for these roles for so long that if they don't cast them, which is a very good possibility that they won't, it's also a good possibility that they will. We'll see. But if they don't get casted, there's going to be a slew of fans that are just going to be immediately disappointed. Like, immediately.
So I think back on the new Batman movie and how they had Robert Pattinson in the screen test. And everyone has been like, you can't have a glitter vampire be the new Batman. And everyone was just talking smack about it for like,
of course,
for months. Months. And then, they show the trailer and it's good.
Everyone just shut up. They were like, all right.
Oh, so, I was a Robert Pattinson fan since, after the Twilight movies.
Yeah, please. No, you weren't, Josh. So, you know what's funny? We'll move on here in a second, but that moment actually happened to me about a week ago. So I was at work, and we were just on lunch break, and we were talking, and it came up where a friend of mine just learned that he doesn't keep up with everything, so he'll learn things at his own pace or whatever, right? He's not like us that seek it out or anything,
right?
and he was talking about like, oh yeah, Robert Pattinson being Batman, like I can't see that, blah blah blah. And we were like, wait, have you not seen the trailer yet? And he's like, no, absolutely not. And I'm like, come here. And we played it. And right after that trailer, obviously, you know the moment where he does the beatdown.
Yeah.
Right after that trailer, he goes, all right, well, I kind of want to see that now. And I'm like, see?
Give it a minute. So I feel like that's what John Watts would have to do with the Fantastic Four movie. Yeah. They would have to cast both, Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. And
can't forget my boy Johnny Storm. Come on.
Well, no, just those two, because I think that's what everybody is like hooked
waiting
on.
for. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you do a screen test with both of them interacting with one another, then if it's not John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, then that screen test will be able to stand by itself on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's hope, man. I mean,
do you want those two to be?
I do.
Casted?
I really, really do.
There's a part of me that kind of hopes so too. Just because
really
it's like I've seen so many concept arts, I've seen so many people say it, and I'm like, well, it'd be kind of cool to see them because I'm a fan of Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. So like,
they're both married.
Exactly. So the chemistry's already going to be there, and it's like,
it'd be great. And
like it would be perfect. But
John was supposed to be Captain America. I'm so glad that we got Chris Evans. I'm so glad he did such a he is Captain America as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly.
And I'm happy that Anthony Mackie as Sam is going to be the new Captain America, but I'm not saying he's replacing him. No. We got Chris Evans.
Yeah.
And now we're getting Anthony Mackie. Mm-hmm. I'm glad. I'm truly glad, but I really want to see John Krasinski in a superhero film. I do.
And if he's Mr. Fantastic and he does it good, which I know he will. So
under Kevin Feige, I'm like
absolutely
ready.
Here's the thing. I really think Feige's like, listen, we had 4 movies. Yes, I'm even counting that one from the 1990s. We've had 4 movies of trying to make this work. This needs to work.
So listen, you figure Kevin Feige has been not directing. He's been producing Marvel movies since the late 90s.
Since
the first
X-Men.
Blade.
Was he on Blade?
No, he didn't do Blade. He didn't do Blade. You can prove me wrong if you want, but I'm very certain his first movie
I believe you, but
was X-Men.
It might have been. Keep proving.
Okay, so think about it. If X-Men is his first movie that he did, he had to get up to that point. So that means he, pretty much crafted, his career around
X-Men was
one.
his first.
That's what I thought. So he was crafting his entire career wanting to develop movies to the big screen for a new audience for the new age, 2000s and beyond. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that means you have to look at what preceded him. What preceded him in X-Men was Blade, was Fantastic Four, Captain America, the Hulk TV show, Spider-Man the TV show. I think they also did Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Thor.
Yes.
And all of that was just remarkably bad, considering. I think the only thing that was really good for the time was Hulk. So, I'm pretty sure he took the Fantastic Four live-action movie personally. I would take it personally if, that were my craft.
Yeah.
So, I'm ready for it. I'm really ready for it. I'm hoping that I'm pretty sure he had a conversation with John Krasinski too. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
The topic of discussion of
the thing is with Kevin Feige, like he listens to fans, right?
He does.
He did a Reddit AMA like was it last year or was it the year before? Last year literally is just a blur.
Yeah, it was definitely not last year at this point.
But he did an AMA Ask Me Anything for those who don't know. So he talks to fans. He definitely does. And he listens. So I would not be surprised if they've had conversations about this and about all that already.
Had to have.
Yeah.
Had to have. But that's all the Marvel news that dropped. And like I said, this is going to be a ton more that's going to be coming up in the upcoming weeks. I'm excited for it.
There's a lot more. There's 10 Star Wars things coming out.
And we have to talk about The Mandalorian because you finally watched it all.
You did I though?
I'm gonna say you did. I'm glad that you did whatever you could do. Let's just put it that way. I'm excited.
I watched the final episode of season 2.
You could have lied to me. You could have lied to me, and I would have been okay.
But I don't like to lie to my friends. So
I appreciate you being honest and truthful with me. But come on, man. Anyways, that's another story for another time.
It was cool.
Disney's doing a lot. Disney's doing a lot,
and there's going to be so many more things. But we're going to talk about and shift things over to what they released on December 25th / Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They released a movie that was supposed to come out in theaters in November?
It was.
Yeah, so it's supposed to come out in November. They've since moved it to Disney Plus, and they did not do what they did with Mulan.
With Mulan, right?
So Mulan, you had to pay an additional, what was it, $30?
I think $30 for Premier Access.
For Premier Access to watch it.
In-app purchase that allowed you to access the film before other people did.
Correct.
But
it's now out for everybody.
And I get it. I understand the principle of it. I'm not going to complain about it. I would have paid something close to that anyway, for me to watch it on a large screen under normal circumstances. And I would have been okay with that.
Yeah.
I also know that the pandemic is difficult and people aren't just made of money.
Correct.
I understand the principle behind it. I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting that Onward, as well as Soul, were both released directly to Disney Plus. Yeah. And
was Onward? No, because Onward,
it wasn't in theaters. It was only there for about a month, and this was the month was literally beginning of the pandemic.
Because I bought it on iTunes to watch it.
Interesting. When did you buy it?
The day that it came out.
What month was that?
That was back in, I want to say that was October?
Oh, no. This came out in April, dude.
What? Oh, my God. Was it that long?
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Yeah.
Hold on. I can give you a definite answer here in a few moments. Nope, not that way. Keep riffing.
No, I saw it in theaters, and I remember watching it again when the pandemic was beginning to take off. I remember thinking to myself that it's good that Pixar is doing it. But as a filmmaker, I'm imagining how challenging it is to just make something that isn't presented in the manner that you were hoping for it to be presented.
Right.
There was something that happened while we were on temporary hiatus where Warner Brothers had announced that all the films for this year in 2021 would be released on HBO Max. While it's thrilling to hear if you are a movie watcher, it is not so fun to hear if you are somebody who's a filmmaker that wants to present a movie for the big screen. One of those movies I'm looking forward to is, Godzilla versus Kong. I have no desire to watch that film on a small screen. I want to see that on a big screen. I want the seats. I want the sound. I want the theater-going experience.
Correct.
So, for people who are saying that theaters are on the way out with the dinosaurs, I just don't believe that. I don't know, dinosaurs. And I hope that AMC stays afloat. I hope the big theater chains and the small theater chains all stay afloat. I don't know if the theaters are going under. The big names might go under.
Right.
So, we'll see what happens. But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but
I mean, I do want to. I want to go back to the theaters.
I do too.
I really do.
And I want everybody to be safe as well.
Absolutely. But I don't know. We shall see. So I purchased Onward. This took me forever to find. I don't know why.
Hmm.
I purchased Onward March 2020.
Interesting.
Release date US, and according to Google, it came out March 6th.
Interesting. In theaters, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it came out that same month.
Yeah, so it came out literally like 2 weeks after.
But you bought it even though it was on Disney Plus. Streaming.
I don't think it came to Disney Plus in March.
When did it come to Disney Plus, then? Isn't that crazy how much time passes? Don't even realize.
That's what I'm... Hold on, Disney Plus. It didn't come out to Disney Plus till April.
Oh, a month later.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I bought it, and then it came out to Disney Plus a month later.
Yeah, I just waited. Because I had seen it in theaters already, so by the time it came out in April...
Yeah, so I didn't go to the theater to watch it. So I just bought it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, movie studios, actors, directors, we're all trying to figure this out. So every movie is going to be slightly different. You know, Tenet had a limited release. I wanted to see it in theaters in September. I was not able to. The theaters that were near me just did not. They weren't open just for simplicity's sake. They just simply weren't open.
Yeah.
But now we have Soul, and you know, I was able to see that on Christmas Day. I was very much interested and looking forward to that. It has the lead of Jamie Foxx, super talented Jamie Foxx.
Mm-hmm.
He sings. He's a comedian. He pretty much has it all. He does it all.
Does it all.
So seeing him in a Pixar movie was something I was looking forward to, and cool. I liked it. I mean, we typically have the Cubby system. I feel like, you know, it's the
today
first
we're
day
just
back.
we're
gonna do a basic
relax.
discussion.
Yeah,
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I don't know if it's my favorite Pixar movie, but I did very much enjoy it. When I say I like it a lot, I don't mean it that way that other people do. Like, it's like it just love it, just raving about it. Like, if I like something, it's good. It's really, really good.
That's fair.
What do you think?
So, okay, let me preface by saying I like it. Absolutely. It hit differently for me this time around, though.
How come? Is this going to be like a serious discussion? I think
we're
about to get serious.
This is 100% going to be a serious discussion right now.
Okay, all right, let's go.
And it hit differently because, like you said, one of the reasons why we were on a hiatus was just because everything that was going on. And this kind of goes encompassing with my trophy hunting that I was doing as well, because I had recently played a game which you are going to be playing soon, called Detroit Become Human. And it's an old game.
I just downloaded that game.
Yeah, and it's an old game. And I've seen people play it before. Like, I'd watched the Let's Plays of it. I'd done everything. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see why this is important in a second. So I knew the story. Like, I wasn't playing it for the story. I mean, yes, I was, but I wasn't because I'd already known how it finishes, right? Mm-hmm. And I was getting all the trophies anyway, so I just wanted to clear it as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. However, in playing it, there's a character called Marcus. Mm-hmm. And the whole theme of the game, which you'll see when when you finally play it. And it's not a spoiler because it's just the theme, essentially. Mm-hmm. The theme is of self-discovery. Mm-hmm. The theme is of how you feel alive. How do you feel about being human?
I see where this is going.
And those feelings that encompass you. And am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I pursuing life the way that I need to? Mm-hmm. And Soul does the same thing.
Right.
Soul is like, hey, it's not about what you do per se, but it's about just living and living in that moment and just feeling yourself, right?
Being present
and just taking the moment to notice those little things around you. Like 22, the character that we follow along with Jamie Foxx's character, Joe, and there's a moment where she is just sitting down, just looking at the trees, one of those like little leaflets falls on her, and she's just entranced in that moment. Like she's not doing anything, but this is the first time she's living.
Yeah.
And it just hits so hard.
Yeah.
And just playing that game and then seeing this, and then, just my own internal mental struggles that I got going on over here.
Yeah.
It just hit a lot harder, and I was like, damn, I just need to live, essentially. I just need to appreciate all the little things that are happening around me. Yeah. So, yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I think that's in that description. I'm starting to struggle with what trailers do, because trailers, in the age of social media and the age of smart viewers, I think if you give too much of the story is going to start becoming predictable.
Sure.
And when you have a formula to how movies are made, people are pretty quick to understand what's going on. Mm-hmm. That's challenging. It's absolutely challenging. And I think, based on what was the last Star Wars movie, people just tried to figure out what was going to happen. And you typically are right. And what happens when you're right? It kind of it doesn't feel the same.
Right. Exactly.
Because
because now you're expecting
exactly
what you kind of sought out, and once you get exactly what you sought out, you're just like, oh, well, I hope there was more. It's like, well,
for the most part, yeah. But that's I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, I'll say this: when watching the movie, it absolutely hit me.
Yeah.
2020 was challenging for many, many people. Devastating for some others. I'm not going to compare my grief to them, but it hasn't been easy. I will say that.
Yeah.
So I think Soul was more of, I won't even say surface value, because whenever I see a movie, I think we discussed this a little bit when we were talking about Bill and Ted. Mm-hmm. I was just happy to see something new.
Right.
It felt to me that life was still happening, to see something new.
Right.
And it's bonkers to me that was something I didn't even realize that would make me, I guess, overjoyed.
Right.
That something that I love and appreciate was still being created, still being made. So, I had a visceral reaction for all movies, Bill and Ted 3. But I mean, it did hit me in the feels and all that stuff. Bill and Ted getting old, and they're getting tired, and they have children now that they are responsible for, but they still are inundated by their own mistakes. So, they do what they always know how to do. They try the best, but now they actually have people that are working along with them. So, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that whole part. Watching Soul was along the same vein. I enjoyed that because, again, it was something new. The visual art was just, crazy to me. The story was something that I didn't grapple with it. I identified with it more than anything. And then, there's the story beats that typically happen in a Pixar movie, which are way more emotionally driven than a typical movie. They're not driven by, a counting down clock. They're not driven by impending Earth doom like most superhero movies. It's driven by interpersonal beings. So when Joe was having the conversation with his mother, who's played by Felicia Rashad, that really hit home with me, because I remember having conversations like that with my parents. So it hit me there. But absolutely, when 22 was just started enjoying living and just being present in these moments, and all of the things that she collected, the lollipop, and the leaf, and the part of the bagel, passions. I identify with that. I really absolutely identify with that. Both with the character And the fact that they were able to create this and to complete this movie in such a weird moment in life, where I don't know if you had seen the behind the scenes, but there's a whole segment that talks about how when they were pretty much starting to wrap up this movie, the pandemic hit.
Yes, I
And
watched that one.
Pixar, the way that they make movies is very much hands-on. You must be in the offices. They're all, communicating and interacting with people.
Yeah.
And when the pandemic hit, they shut down the offices. So they were talking about the technical hurdles about like how people can bring their computers home, but that computer is a portal to their servers.
Yep.
And they had made these strides to allow that to happen, where they could work from home. So, but if they didn't invest in that technology, then we wouldn't be sitting down talking about, this wonderful movie-going stay-at-home experience that we've experienced. So, all of those people were plagued with the same problems that you and I were plagued with.
Yeah.
It was humbling for me to see that. They're on Zoom calls talking with other animators and actors and producers and directors and musicians and composers and, the entire, filmmaking team. And dog comes in and starts making noise. Like, I've been there.
They're normal people.
They're normal people. They're normal people. So even that was humbling for me to see.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a really fun
it's a fun movie.
I laughed a lot. It was funny too because as the movie's going and we're introduced to Jerry and Terry.
So we typically reserve a cubby to talk about the performance.
Yeah.
So do you know who Terry is played by?
Terry's played by Rachel House.
Yes, Rachel House. For those that don't know, plays the character who's the assistant for Jeff Goldblum in Thor Ragnarok.
Yep.
And I just love her voice.
Yeah.
It's such a
so good.
Very syrupy type of Australian accent. Yeah. I love Australian accents. They're
great.
They're great. I can't imitate them. Even though, no matter how hard I try, the Australian O's are what gets me the most. Because I don't know how they're moving their palate inside their mouths, their tongue, to make that Australian O. And I have studied it, and I'm like, I don't know if I have the capacity to do that.
I listened to Alana Pierce, if you don't know who she is. She was a gaming journalist. Now she works for Sony Santa Monica Studios, so she's a writer there. But she has tons of podcasts, and she was on IGN and all this stuff. So I've been listening to her. She's Australian. I've been listening to her for years, and I think I know how to do an Australian accent. I don't, but I think I do because I listen to her so much.
Crazy.
I have no idea. But there were two other voices that I recognized almost immediately, and I was very happy to hear their voices.
Oh, yeah.
We have Alice Braga as one of the counselors, Jerry's.
Yep.
And then my personal favorite, freaking Richard. How do you say his last name?
Ayoade.
Ayoade?
I think so.
Yeah. So Rich, a.k.a. Morris from the IT crowd.
Oh, yes.
When I heard his voice, I was like, let's go.
Voice.
Like, I know him. I was so happy to hear his voice in particular.
I pointed at the television the same way Leonardo DiCaprio points in that meme for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know the voice.
I know that one. Yeah, I was so happy to hear his voice. I was like, oh, that's great that they got him. He
has such a deliciously nasal voice that is undeniably his.
It's so good. Like, the second he spoke, I was like, I know who that is. Like, there's no denying. He's so good. I love him.
Yeah.
He's hilarious.
Yeah. He's great. And, they always pick A-listers. I consider him to be an A-lister. So,
yeah. And then, of course, Graham Norton was freaking Moonwind.
Yes. He was great. Freaking Donnell Rawlings was Des, the barber.
Yeah. Yep.
He was great. Questlove
that whole barber scene was great.
That whole barber scene was fantastic. And it was such a very authentic experience
Very authentic experience. And then again, going into that deep part where he's like, yeah, you just never talked to me about that. Like, you never just asked me.
Right.
And it was just like, oh, crap. Like, what happens when you just ask someone? You get to ask somebody a question, you get to know them infinitely better.
Right.
So just little things like that sprinkled throughout.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be things to nitpick and complain about and things to say that people don't like. But to me, the things that are better for me.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
I enjoyed the movie. I absolutely enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's a whole bunch of Pixar movies that I will go back and watch, just because, they're so good. I think this is going to be one of those, that I will consistently watch. I don't think it's going to be like WALL-E levels or Toy Story levels of watching over.
I don't think it has to be either.
No, but it's definitely going to be one that I will go back to. I haven't visited Onward since I watched it. I will probably visit this again before I visit Onward, honestly.
That's fair. So I noticed something, and I don't know if I'm wrong. I need to double check it again. But when it comes to Pixar movies, how they present their movies has always been very interesting to me. Because when we go to Toy Story, that happens in Andy's room.
Right.
And we don't really know where it's actually taking place. We can kind of guess that they may be in California, but we don't really know.
We don't know. I know where you're going with this, yeah.
Right. Incredibles happens in a metropolitan kind of city, but we get an idea of the time frame, but we still don't know where it's located.
Yeah, correct.
Cars, I don't think happens anywhere. We kind of know that it happens along the West Coast, Pacific.
Well, they have the mountainy area, don't they? So isn't it near the Grand Canyon or whatever?
It can be, but it's not explicitly stated.
It's also after the apocalypse and everyone has died and everyone's turned into cars anyway.
Let's not get into the Pixar theory. Okay.
I love that video.
Okay. So there is Finding Nemo, which does take place in Sydney, but you don't spend a lot of time
there. EAC.
Yeah. Most of that stuff is happening underwater, right?
Yeah.
Monsters, Inc. takes place in a fictional world. Ratatouille does take place in Paris. So the amount of times where you see actual physical, real locations that people could see is rare. And Soul actually happens to be in that place where they're really leaning on these are real places that people actually go to. Yeah. And it was something that I noticed.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that has anything to do with the person, the Black experience, and these are the places where people live. These are the barbershops that you go visit.
Sure.
At times it does feel like a fictional city, but they do make references to real life cities, which I don't think hasn't happened often.
No.
It doesn't happen often.
No.
So
I don't think so. But yeah, the way that they use, New York in this made me miss home.
I agree. I absolutely
made me
agree.
Miss home. For sure.
I also forgot Coco happens in Mexico, but not a specific place.
Yeah, not not a set area like New York. This is literally Manhattan, New York City.
Right.
So,
and at times I thought it was Chicago, but I was wrong. But there's also
why did you think it was Chicago?
When I was looking at the cityscape, it's not the New York cityscape, so it's fine.
They show it from above. They do.
Yeah, and when they go into the subway, I knew exactly where it was. But I'm also thinking of what's the other movie? Inside Out. That takes place in San Francisco.
Yes.
Yeah. But besides that, I think that's
they don't usually disclose exactly where something is.
Yeah, Up was just a regular city.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not going to talk about Cars 2.
Yeah, but never. That is on the bottom of the Pixar list.
That's the very bottom of the Pixar list.
But yeah, I mean, the movie was great, and then I really enjoyed the music of it too.
I did too.
I'm not a big jazz person per se, but the way that it's portrayed here,
you can feel the music.
You can definitely feel the music, and especially when he. They portray in the movie when he gets in the zone, where he just goes off the very first time he has the rehearsal. It's just that sounds just really incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love the way that they incorporated music into this, for
I
sure.
have to say, I really always enjoy how Pixar understands like the human experience. Like they have
Mhm.
this way of taking these really complex, human elements that we've all kind of experienced or have noticed that somebody has
Mhm.
experienced, and they make it such a playful way for it to be received by kids and children.
Yeah.
So there's a scene
They make it
where
accessible.
exactly. So there's a scene where Joe is in his, I guess, his spirit form, and he follows 22 into this area where they beat these dark creatures that are obsessive, driven by anxiety.
Yeah.
And Moonwind comes in with these other, sage-like spirits, and they're just helping them get back and realize themselves.
Yeah.
So they do this cleansing thing. I'm not exactly sure I understand fully what it is that they did,
Sure.
but they were able to wake the spirit up and realize that he's in this obsessive state,
Hmm.
and he has the opportunity to jump back into his body and realize his, I guess, his
His
surroundings.
plight.
Yeah, and so there's this moment where the spirit kind of lands back in his body and is just like, "What the heck am I doing?" And he completely clears at his desk,
Yeah.
making a mess and screaming like, "You guys can be free. You can move on, and you can do anything." So I hope he has an
Yeah.
awakening. I hope he, kisses his family and
Yeah.
just realize that there is more to life
For
than
sure.
you know pushing papers and making copies. Or I
Trading
think there's,
stocks,
yeah,
whatever.
I think there's really something really important to living in life.
Yeah.
And in 2020, I think that's more relevant than ever.
Exactly. Which is why I think that this movie will hit for a lot of people.
Sure,
Um,
absolutely.
so if you have not given Soul a chance, definitely do it because it is so good.
Yeah. I love the movie. I loved there were a lot of other scenes that I really enjoyed. One of them was the scene where Joe finally gets to perform.
Yeah.
The, like you can, I don't know how to explain it, but it's almost felt as though I was there,
Yeah.
and I was like front row for a seat, and you can feel that experience. But
Yeah.
when Joe leaves, and he said he imagined that it would feel different.
Yeah.
I don't know. I identify with that movie
Yeah.
more than I think I care to admit.
So, question: did
Answer.
I read this wrong? So, did he take that second chance that they gave him?
Yes.
So he went back to Earth
Yeah.
at the end of the movie
I agree. Yeah, I think he did.
because I feel like he chose not to.
What makes you think that?
I don't know. Like I think the way that it was just shot because essentially it's so Jerry says, "Hey, we've decided to give you another chance." Blah blah blah. We don't see him walk through though.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to say that he did, but he just wanted to do more living. I don't think he was bent on becoming that musician.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
I think maybe he took. I don't know. I get the impression that he was going to take the teaching job because he was going to be able to help kids live.
Right. Like Connie.
Right. Exactly. I think
Yeah.
that's the impression that I got. But I wonder, where did it end?
Like, am I misremembering that ending?
I don't think so. But I think those movies are edited in such a way where you're allowed to have that freedom to kind of go.
Sure. I don't. I don't know. Maybe I read into that wrong, but
No, I don't think you read into it
yeah.
wrong.
And then I thought they were going to do something predictable as well. I'm kind of glad that they didn't do this, honestly. But I think that they were going. I thought that they were going to have 22 like when she goes to live.
Hmm.
I thought that they were going to have her be like his future daughter or something like that. I'm glad they didn't show anything of that nature because that would have been a little bit too on the nose. You think?
Yeah, I don't think they were going to do that.
Yeah.
But I think if they do
because they kept hinting at Lisa, like the girl that he's talking to or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like throughout the movie, they're like, "Oh, you should talk to Lisa." Blah blah blah. And I thought we were gonna get like a jump cut to like him and Lisa together, and then like they have a baby, and then the baby is like 22 or something. I'm glad they didn't do that. I'm very very happy they didn't do that, because that would have been a little bit too on the nose. But in this way, 22 becomes her own person.
So he talks to Jerry, and we don't really know. It's kind of like neutral. I think it's supposed to be that way, right? They ask, "What do you think you'll do?" And there's this moment where he begins stepping to the portal, but then it cuts.
Yeah. Okay.
To Joe stepping out. So I don't see why he would like change his mind last minute. That would just be misleading.
Okay. Oh no, he does go back to his body.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because at the very end he's
stepping out the door,
out of the house. Okay, never mind.
But there are moments where he has flashbacks, but I'm led to believe that he did step through the portal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
it made a way, but I don't think he's going to obsess with needing to be part of the band, and he's going to get his big break, and life is going to happen as soon as that big break happens. Yeah, I think that's the important part. I think he's just going to enjoy living his life and playing music as a passion. But
absolutely, okay. So yeah, I did misremember that part. Never mind.
Yeah, but that's interesting. That's interesting that you picked up on that moment of ambiguity.
Yeah,
I think that's
because I took it as he gets into the zone so he can go back to C-22 and all that. But I was also thinking of that moment as like, hey, I reached my goal. It wasn't what I thought it was going to feel like. So I feel like exactly like he's not like done with life. Like he's whatever, like he's done everything he wanted to do, but he accepted
has lived a full life. Right.
Exactly. That he accepted that he lived a full life, and that, yeah, maybe I should just go on and now do whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess they gave him a second chance. Okay.
I think it's also really interesting. I don't really mean for it to get this deep, but it's like they cover all the bases for all the people who are watching this movie to have it in.
Sure.
They cover, the great beyond, and, if you're, going to God, it's going to be this big, you're joining back with him all over again,
Yeah.
How do you visualize that? That's a challenge. That's a huge challenge, Yeah. Like we always talk about the great beyond, but what does the great before look like? And how do we make this accessible? Well, we'll make it the U seminar. That was a little weird. I'm going to just call that as it is. Like,
yeah.
Maybe that was a little bit too on the nose, but where do you get your passions from? Like, where did gaming come from for you? Where does awkwardness come for you? Because I can be, in my moments, I can be really into it, but I have moments where I'm like resigned and super awkward, and sometimes I'm just quiet. But like, where does that come from?
Right.
Is it genetic? I don't know if it's genetic.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, Pixar always knows how to like explore these things that you don't really think about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you do think about it, you're just like, oh wait, how did that come to fruition, right?
Right.
And they do it in these clever ways. Like they did it with Inside Out, with like how you feel inside, and then this kind of went the next level.
So I don't know if this is an Easter egg, but I remember watching it the first time, and I wanted to watch it again, but I don't think I paid attention the second time around.
Sure.
But there's this moment where 22 is freaking out inside Joe's body. That's if we haven't said it before, we're full spoiler territory here. Please.
Oh yeah, we talked about the ending. We're 100% spoiler territory.
So there's this moment where 22 switched bodies, or is in a body that wasn't intended for 22's experience, I guess. But I guess everything worked out in the end. Everything was returned the way it was supposed to return. Yes. So 22 got a little hangry, and Joe inside the cat got food. So when 22 eats the pizza, there's this moment where the one figure splits into multiple, I guess, versions of self. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of Inside Out, where that soul was, I guess, splitting into the different emotions. Yep. I thought it was an Easter egg, but I wasn't sure.
I mean, Pixar always hides a bunch of little Easter eggs. Like in that same scene, like right before it, like he runs past a rat. The rat looks like, Remy.
I don't know if it looked like Remy. It looked like the pizza rat that I saw on the internet like multiple times.
Jesus.
It
was blue, so I was like, oh, that's Remy.
Yeah, but this one looked a little
roughed up.
Yeah, exactly.
It was Remy's New York cousin.
I like Remy better. I can't wait for the Remy Ratatouille ride in Epcot. That's going to be a lot of fun to experience.
Oh, that's right. No. Also, did you? This isn't a reference to it at all, but did you catch the Kingdom Hearts reference?
No.
So when they're on the boat, they're discussing like souls and all this stuff, and they're like, "I don't have a soul. I don't have a body. I'm a nobody."
I think that's stretching.
No. It's definitely not a reference to Kingdom Hearts at all. But any Kingdom Hearts fan would be like, "I understood what you did there."
That'd be interesting. I mean, I think it'd be interesting if it got a Kingdom Hearts series on Disney Plus. I think that would be bananas.
So I didn't say I got this for Christmas. I got chapter 1 of the Kingdom Hearts 3 manga, so I'm reading that right now. I want to get the other ones. So.
I will say this, and because I don't know I think we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Just enjoy those mangas, because if you get it online,
you said that earlier. Yeah. Don't worry, I buy them officially. We're good. They're not downloaded illegally.
No screen caps, because
no screen caps.
Anything more than one frame, because they're going to come get you.
Exactly. Yeah. No, don't worry. This was purchased legally. We're good. As are all the other mangas that I have in my collection.
Purchased with monetary, real money.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, so that's Soul.
So life is weird, man. Life is weird. Life is strange, and I'm glad I was able to have it. And it's a nice departure from a world that just seems a little wacky right now. And by wacky, I'm using that word very forgiving.
Yeah.
Very forgiving in that word, because I do want this to be an escape. I do want this podcast to be a place where you don't necessarily have to think about like the world, because it's exhausting. It's truly, truly exhausting.
Yeah.
But I think it's also disingenuous to just completely ignore that our capital was under siege.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, I have never lived that's the stuff that you read in history books.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that you read in history books.
Yeah.
It's not something that happens every year. It's not something that happens every presidential cycle. And it's like, we kind of have to process this. We talked about the importance of understanding your mental health. It is not something that you need to ignore. I don't think we're going to uncover it in this episode. I don't know if we're going to ever uncover this in this episode, because I think there's a time and place for everything.
Yeah.
But guys, if you're listening to this, women, if you're listening, whoever's listening to this, it's okay if this doesn't feel good. I think talking about it is important. Definitely don't want to leave that bottled in. There has to be a healthy way of processing what's happening. I don't necessarily know if I have any official, numbers or hotlines or people that you can reach out, but I know they're out there. Yeah. I know they're out there. I don't know if I can be that person that, come like email me, text me, tweet me. I'm not that guy. I'm trying to figure this out, much like everybody else. Yeah. Everybody else. I feel like I can communicate, with you more, because we've been friends for so long, and we, always love talking about this. I'm glad that we have this opportunity to kind of do this officially.
Yeah.
But I don't think we can ignore what's happening at the same time. And it's not calling to arms, it's not calling to action, it's not any of that stuff. But we do have to figure out how to be in this world. And we have to figure out how to live in a world with each other. Because for some reason that seems really, really hard to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're still here. And we will continue doing this as long as we can continue doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. We might take a break here and there every once in a while, but I think we're going to come back for sure.
Yeah. And I encourage you to rest. I think rest is something that cannot be stated enough by me. Rest is important.
Very much so.
There is nothing that just goes on forever. Batteries do not last forever. Cars need to relax. They need to be refueled.
Yep.
We are the same way. We absolutely are the same way. So if you find yourself, you're doing too much for too long, take purposeful moments, relax.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So that's what I have to share about that.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there's anything that you would like to add.
I mean, ditto to everything you said.
Huzzah.
We're all trying to figure this out, myself included. And so with each day, we kind of get better or try to get better, and that's all we can do. All we can do is just strive to be better than we were the day before. So.
Yeah. Well said. So
on that note,
heavy notes. Heavy
so
notes.
Somber.
So no, but it's also uplifting. I like to view this as uplifting. I think it's disingenuous to say that this sucks and, how much longer of this do I have to, withstand before I just give out? There is hope.
Right.
There is hope.
There is hope.
And I don't say that as a cheesy, campy word, there's hope, but there's hope within us. There's hope within each other. There's hope in relationships. Not romantic relationships. I'm just talking about the people that you talk to, the people that are your family. There's always room for forgiveness and healing, and it's something that's necessary. Otherwise,
absolutely,
we just dissolve into madness and decay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well said.
Thank you. And with that, I say thank you so much for tuning in. I'll tell you what, if you like what we had to say, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Jace Rockland and Josh.
I'm at JCA90. You can also find us over on Twitter at FGC Podcast, on Instagram as FGC Podcast, or email us at freshgeekcontext@gmail.com.
You can also visit our website at freshgeekcontext.com for written articles, galleries, and videos, as well as Spreaker.com. Just search for Fresh Geek Context there or on any streaming platform of your choice. It goes a long way for us to know that you're listening, and share with your friends so they can be Fresh Geeks too. Until next time, everybody.
Have some soul.
Yes, you.
Get it? Because we just reviewed the movie Soul.
All right. You've had enough.
And soul is like music, but it's also like internal. It has multiple meanings. Bye, everyone.